Hello, friends. It's Jillian Harrington, dabbler in all things woo and energy intuitive. And today I'm going to talk to you about the energy of your home and how this affects your life. This is one of my favorite topics. So I hope that you'll stay tuned to learn all about how working in your home space can help you work and change your whole life. It's good stuff. Okay, so when I was a kid, I lived in a pigsty. I will tell you this, it's really kind of embarrassing. Um, I won't get into the details because it's not a good look on me, but I will say, I had to have little goat trails through my bedroom, and my stuff went up to my knees in the room. Wasn't good, but I was holding on to everything because maybe someday I would need it. I think I may have gotten that one from my father. And so it's kind of amazing that I am exactly the opposite of that person now. And part of that is because I really started becoming sensitive to how the energy of my environment really affected me. And so if I'm feeling off, if I'm feeling down or depressed or something's going wrong in my life, the first thing I do is clean up my house because it has such a huge impact. But even more than that, the home is like this psychological mirror. This like a like it's a way for you to communicate with your subconscious. That's weird, isn't it? But it's true. So I had this big realization when I was learning all about dream symbology. I had some sort of a dream about my house or whatever, that I had extra rooms. I'm always having dreams about having extra rooms and I'm going to Airbnb them. Well, I'm very tempted to go into the dream symbology of that. I want to tell you what I learned is that the home is a representation of the self to your to your psychotic mind, to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind sees your home as yourself. Your subconscious mind talks to you through your dreams through symbology. Hmm? So think about that. Everything that's happening inside of you gets represented in your external world. And everything that is happening into your external world is a message to your internal world about who you are. There's this fascinating interchange about how we're manifesting things in our reality because we're trying to learn, overcome, heal something internally. It's just really beautiful that we get to work on our internal stuff through our external world. I mean, think about that. If you have a feeling that you weren't heard a lot as a child, you're going to start having things happening in your job or in your relationship, or maybe even you have something happening in your body where your voice doesn't work, that it shows up in different ways for you to to have different homework assignments, because this is a life lesson, a life challenge, and it's going to give you a variety of different options about how you want to work on it. And so I really like the idea about working on it through our home, because sometimes it's easier to work on it in our home than to try to change other people. But also, it means that every day you can have this really beautiful, wonderful, positive experience being in your own home. So I'm going to give you the rundown of what each room symbolizes, because each room has its own story, it has its own journey, it has its own place in your life. And so I'm sure you're curious about oh gosh, I got a lot of clutter in my dining room. What does that mean? We'll dig into that. Don't you worry. But let's talk about clutter since I brought it up. Clutter. Clutter is kind of like this magical miracle to help you work through things. In fact, when I was a psych major, I found out that people that are hoarders often are hoarders because they experienced a lot of loss in their life. When you look into the psychology and the diagnosis around it, often when they have experienced profound loss in some way, they end up collecting more things, because it's this idea that if I have enough stuff, I'll be prepared for what life throws at me. Or I'm going to hold on to these things because it reminds me of other people. Or it means who I am is not enough. And so I need to have all of these things to shore me up. But unfortunately, all of that clutter is really holding you back from moving forward in your life, from having the energy that you want to rocket forward in your life. Clutter is a constant drain on your soul. This is not just my words. This is actually shown in scientific research articles that I haven't read, that I have read about it. The concept that there is this low level stress, which is the worst kind of stress, and it drains you of your energy. Something that's like a obvious stress that's coming at you that you're like, I don't like you and I have to deal with you. It's something you have to face, 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 and struggle with and unpack, right? It's a threat to you, so you've got to go after it. But when it's this just low level, constant stress, it's constantly in the back of your mind, that's the worst kind of stress. It just totally drains and sucks the life out of you. And in fact, Karen Kingston, who I've read, she's great, space intuitive, energy intuitive around your space. I don't know what her title is, but she's all about the energetics of space. So check her out. She's fantastic. What she talks about is that all of your things have little energy strings that are attached to you and they drain the energy out of you. And it's kind of interesting because our things do become an extension of our ego and our identity. My computer, my books, my car, they become part of who we are. And so when they're damaged or stolen or lost, it can often have a real emotional impact because it's a part of us. Okay. So you have a connection to your things. So I want you to think about the clutter in your life and know that you've got an energetic connection to that clutter. And it is slowing you down, my dear. It is slowing you down. So you're going to want to clear that out to help move a lot of energy in your life. But the other thing I want to say about clutter is that it's a sticky little mofo. It's sticky. It's a sticky little bugger. I have seen this where you just have one piece of clutter and it just wants to have a little party. And all of a sudden, it gets little clutter friends. And before you know it, you got a little clutter pile. And before you got a little nest and a heap. And it goes on. And then it becomes that thing that you have to deal with. And it just feels really overwhelming and just is like, ugh, whenever you look at it. So that's why it's great to tackle it early before it starts throwing a rager. Clear out the party. So that is our dear friend clutter. It blocks the energy in our house. Oh, and let's talk about the energy of our house. I love feng shui. And while this room symbology that I'm going to get into isn't from feng shui very much, a lot of the same core principles translate to my experience of energy in the home. One of the concepts that I really love from feng shui is how to imagine energy flowing through each room of your home. So imagine that energy is like this water, right? This water river that's flowing through your home. And it comes in through the windows and it comes in through the doors. And the furniture will block it or stop it or help it move along. So think about a room in your house and imagine if there was like water flowing in, like a little river flowing in through your room, where would it get stuck? Where would there be like a little whirlpool? That might be where you have a lot of energy in your space. Where are the corners that it's not going to at all? So they might be like kind of empty corners where nobody goes to. You can feel those spaces are more depleted because there's no energy getting to them. So when you think about the layout of your room, I'm not going to go into detail in this video, at least, about how to lay out your room. Maybe we can do another video on that if you're interested. There's also a lot out there about feng shui that you could get some ideas from as well. But I want you to realize that that energy is nourishing that room in your home. So when we start getting into what that room symbolizes, you can think about how nourished that area of your life is. So you've got clutter and you've got energy. Now let's talk about the symbolism. Now, symbolism can be very specific to you, okay? That's what you find in dreams as well. A station wagon to one person might mean family. A station wagon to another person might mean burden, or it might mean, I don't know, whatever station wagons might mean to you. What does a station wagon mean to you? We all have our own symbology. However, there are common symbology that we share across humanity. But I would still ask yourself, when I talk about what the symbolism of the room is, ask yourself if it fits for you. If this is what it means for you, it might not be. I'll give a couple examples. Okay, like for example, the bedroom. Let's dig in. The bedroom, for me, symbolizes self. It symbolizes like how you relate to yourself, your inner world, your inner being. For some people, it might symbolize romance. And for some people, it might symbolize something completely different. So ask yourself, what does the bedroom kind of mean to you? So as I was beginning to do this work, where I went through all of the rooms in my house and thought about what they symbolized and cleared the clutter and finished the projects that were waiting to be done and made sure I furnished it with the things that brought me joy and made me feel good, the bedroom was the area that was the most neglected. And isn't that interesting? Because for me, it was the room that nobody went into. All right. So again, it's this idea I'm putting everybody in else first before I put attention on myself, before I take care of myself. So that was showing up even in my bedroom in that symbolism. Next room that's a common one in dreams is the bathroom. Okay, let's talk about that. The bathroom is where you get rid of your crap. Literally, right? Literally, you're getting rid of your waste and you're cleansing yourself. So, the bathroom is really important when it comes to your psychological health. Weird, huh? But it's where you purge those negative emotions, the history, the old stuff, the gunk, the trauma. It's where you let it all go and you cleanse and renew yourself. So think about, it's easy to neglect the bathroom, but this is where it's a really a sacred space in a way. It's a place where you can really focus on healing and self-care. I mean, think about a nice luxurious bath or a wonderful hot shower. This is also where we go when we're sick, right? Because we got to use the toilet, or because a hot shower is going to feel good, or whatever it might be. Think about your bathroom and how you can make it feel something where you're really honoring yourself and allowing yourself the place to kind of feel cleansed and renewed. Okay, let's move on to the living room. So for me, the living room really symbolizes social life, right? This is where when people come into my home, this is where we gather. This is where we hang out. This is where we spend time. So often my living room will be the best kept room because I want people to feel comfortable when they come into my room. Also, I'm very intentional about having very active, vibrant colors in that room because I want to have an active, vibrant social life. So think about your living room. How does your living room look? Is it someplace that you feel comfortable in? And when you think about your social life, does it mirror perhaps what's going on in your social life or whatever that room might symbolize to you? Maybe it means family to you. Maybe this is where your family gathers. I don't know. Your symbolism is your own. Your symbolism is your own. Okay, the next room I'm going to cover is the kitchen. Again, this is another one that for you might mean family. For me, it really means nourishment, how we're nourishing ourselves. And I see this play out quite literally. When my kitchen is cluttered, I don't want to cook in there. I don't want to make any food in there. So I end up getting food that is less healthy for me, that I'm ordering in. And so it really makes a literal impact on how well I'm nourishing myself. But also thinking about how you are nourished in your life, right? And what does health look like for you? And how you are fed. Like, how is your soul fed? How is your self fed? How are you feeding your heart? You know, think about that when you think about your kitchen. And then the dining room, not everybody has one. And this is one I'm curious. How does the dining room show up in your life? Is it a place of family? Is it a place of relationships? Is it your place of nourishment? For me, the dining room is very much about family because in my life, that was where we had our big Thanksgiving dinners, our Christmas dinners, our where we came together to share food, right? This is about human connection. So yeah, look at your dining room, and does it really support what you want in that area of your life? And then maybe you have an office. This one's pretty obvious, right? Office meaning career, work life, etc., what you're creating in the world. Do you have a lot of clutter in this room? Do you see a lot of like clutter, stagnant energy, frustration, negativity happening in that particular area of your life? Might be worth checking out. I'm not going to go through an exhaustive list of every single type of room that might be in your life. Some of you might be living in a mansion. You might have 50 rooms. Good on you. You've got a lot of homework to do to figure out what all of those rooms are. Some of you might be in a studio, and in which case, this might not be about each individual room, but it might be looking through that area of your space and where these activities tend to occur and what that looks like. Really make this your own. I think the only one I want to also add in is beyond a room, which is your exterior of your home. This is the face you're putting out to the world, like literally, of course, but this is how you're showing yourself, how you're letting yourself be perceived. Think about the exterior of your home. Is it unkept? Does it need to be, is there garbage? Are there weeds? Is there a broken down car? Realize this is what you are putting out into the world. This represents how you are displaying yourself to the world. How do you want the world to perceive you? Maybe you have nothing. Maybe you're mysterious. I don't know. But do have some intention about what you want to be and how you want to be seen. So I'm kind of curious if you have other symbolism for your rooms. Share down below. I would love to learn more about how rooms are represented in different folks' lives. And now that you know a little bit about the rooms in your house and what they symbolize and where you might have issues, I want to give you an approach on how to deal with those rooms. I would say pick one room, right? One room at a time. This can be overwhelming, it can be draining, it can take a lot of energy, but go in with the intention that you want to heal that particular area of your life. Now, so the first thing I like to do is just to take an assessment of the room. What does it look like? Where do I find clutter? Where are there projects that still need to be taken care of? What do I want this room to feel like? What's the furniture layout look like? How does the energy flow through this room? Just pay attention to the room that you're in and think about what you want it to look like and set an intention for what you want the outcome to be when you're done with it. And then you got to declutter. You got to get rid of stuff. Let go of all of these things that are holding you back and really keep the things that bring you joy. I really love Marie Kondo's approach where you pick up an item and see how it makes you feel, right? One, because it's very easy to get in our heads and be like, oh, but my mom gave that, and maybe she'll be mad at me if she doesn't see if I have it in her house, or, oh, I've got this kit and really I do want to be a painter, but someday I'll get to this. But Bob thinks this is a really good thing to have, and so maybe I should have this, or maybe someday something will happen and gosh, then I'm going to wish I had this really specific weird kitchen gadget to do this really weird specific kitchen gadgety kind of a thing, right? All these thoughts in your head that try to talk you into it, but when quiet those, just feel it. How does it make you feel? Because you want to know what it makes you feel like this all the time. You just don't pay attention to that. So if you're surrounded by things that make you feel guilty, do you really want that in your life? I don't. If you have all these things in your life that say, you should be doing more things and you should be this creative person, but it isn't really who you are, like let go of it. There's somebody else out there who really does want to use it and who could put it to use, And you don't need to feel guilty. You don't need to feel bad about yourself. You don't need to feel scared that you aren't enough, that someday you're going to need something, because you want to know what? When someday comes, you'll figure it out. If you really need it, you can borrow it from a neighbor, or you can take some other hoo-ha and MacGyver it. You have an unlimited creative potential. And you would be surprised about how you can figure out how to do something when you don't have an exact, really specific item to do it. And it's also a great way to bring you closer to your neighbors when you need to borrow something. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to be just one person. Connect with your community, share resources. And worst case scenario, you can buy it again. Maybe it'll still be at the secondhand shop and you can buy it back. The world will not end. You existed without this item at some point, and you can exist with it again in the future. So I'm a big proponent of letting go of things and not having a lot more stuff come in to replace it. Just let it go. Let it go. And then once you've done your decluttering and dealt with all those projects that the pictures you needed to hang, the things you needed to fix, either do it or let it go. Then you can move on to the next step, which is the cleaning. Then go and give your room a really nice deep clean. Move the furniture, clean the floor, clean the windows, clean the walls. And you can do an energetic cleansing as well if you like. You can look that up, or maybe I'll do another video about how to energy cleanse your home, or even you can hire somebody to do it. There are people that do that professionally. Or even better, you can just set the intention as you're physically cleaning to clean out the old energy, because your home holds the energy of the people that lived there before, of things that happened before, of how you felt in that room before. It's good to clean it out. And you know what? I can tell after just sweeping can make such a huge impact on the energy of your house. I know after I sweep, it's not like things look different, but I can 100% feel the freshness of the energy. Open the windows too. Let some fresh air in. Get a duster, dust the corners. Just the act and the intention of bringing cleansing energy into your home. Sure, if you've got a sage, a smudge stick, you can smudge it. You can light a candle to clean some energy. You can spritz some nice fragrance in your house. Or, you can just imagine it being filled with white light energy. There are a lot of options. Do what you want, do what works for you. The most important thing is that you have the intention to clean it, because you are what is powerful. You are who make the difference. You are the one who creates the magic. It's not about the tool, it's about the intention. And then finally, once you've cleansed it, now it's time to fill up your space with what you want, right? This is when you can decorate it with the energy, the vibe, the feelings that you want to have in your room. This is when you look at the room layout and how it will really make sense and support you in what you want, and make sure that the energy flows the way you want it to flow through the room. I hope you do that with one room. And if you do, let me know how it went. Let me know what you found. It might take some time. I mean, honestly, I kind of like to give myself a month for a room and just take a week to do one of those things. A week to do an assessment, a week to declutter, a week to cleanse, a week to decorate. It might take you more and it might take you less, and that's okay. It can be very hard work, because remember, it's not just the physical that you're moving, you're also moving the energy. And particularly as you're coming in with this idea of healing some of your psychology as well, it's a lot of work. So make sure you take time to rest, to get water, to eat healthy, and to take a bath in that lovely bathroom that's all about cleansing and healing and honoring yourself. All right, so that's a little bit about how you can bring some magic into your home and how your home can bring some magic into your life. I hope you learned something. If there's anything that you want me to dig into a little bit more deep, let me know. I would love to unpack some of these ideas and topics more, but I want to know what you want to know more about. And at the end of it, I hope that you have a home that is your safe, sacred space. That is a place where you feel supported, that helps you live a more vibrant life. Because I tell you, going from being a little girl who lived in the midst of mess and was unhappy and was stressed, to living in a home now that just makes me feel joyful and at peace and it happy and makes me feel like wholly myself and helps me feel centered in myself, I want the same thing for you. I hope this helped you figure out how to bring a little bit more magic into your life.